Sunday to you. If you live in an American tourist hotspot, you might not have noticed it yet, but tourism to the U.S. is on the decline. The U.S. is set to lose $12.5 billion because of it.
Guys, this airport is so packed. I'm lucky I came this many hours ahead of time.
Canadian tourism into the U.S. continues to decline, down more than 30% last month compared to 2024.
$250. That's all it costs now to visit the United States if you're from a country without a visa waiver. It might sound like a small fee, but it's already turning into a massive economic problem. Since July, this new visa charge has been quietly hurting America's $1.9 trillion tourism industry. And it's not just about numbers on paper. The impact is visible and growing. Hotels in Miami are half empty. Las Vegas casinos are cutting shows. Resorts in Tucson are slashing prices. Even New York's iconic tour buses are running with fewer passengers. Restaurants are struggling to fill seats and hire staff. Airbnb hosts are giving up. Theme parks are closing early. This isn't just a slow summer, it's a red flag. When millions of potential visitors around the world decide, no thanks, it's not worth the cost, cities that depend on tourism start to suffer. And if major travel hotspots are already in trouble, the real question becomes, who's next? Let's take a closer look at Tucson, Arizona. Once a rising destination in desert tourism, it's now shockingly quiet. Tour buses are few and far between. Gift shops remain untouched. Hotel lobbies echo with emptiness. Things fell apart fast after the $250 visa fee took effect under the sweeping legislation passed on July 4, 2025. Since then, international arrivals have plummeted. Visit Tucson reported a 32% drop in foreign tourists, an alarming number that sent shockwaves through the city's hospitality sector. But it gets worse. Nearly 40% of local tourism businesses have either laid off workers or shut down temporarily. Not because business shifted, but because it vanished. No tour groups, no international students, no foreign conventions. Just long stretches of empty hotel blocks and closed until further notice signs. In 2024, Tucson was gaining momentum. Its airport was expanding. Now all of that progress feels like it's been pulled out from under them. This isn't a seasonal slowdown, it's economic reality. When tourists get priced out, cities like Tucson end up paying the real price. And it's not just Tucson. Spokane, Washington, is also feeling the strain. Once thriving on international student exchanges and seasonal visitors, Spokane saw its international programs collapse this summer. J-1 visa numbers dropped sharply, 7,000 fewer issued in May 2025 compared to the same time in 2024. That's a 13% decline. For Spokane's tourism industry, the consequences have been severe. More than 60% of local hotels and resorts are struggling to fill staff positions like housekeepers, kitchen workers, and front desk clerks. Managers are now doing the work themselves, cleaning rooms, checking in guests, even serving food. Summer events were canceled. Airbnb bookings tanked. Revenue from tourism disappeared almost overnight. What was supposed to be a simple policy adjustment ended up gutting the very workforce that keeps the tourism engine running. Hotels, beaches, festivals, attractions. And Spokane's story isn't unique. It's a warning. Visa policy is now acting like a chokehold on local economies that rely on seasonal income. Now we turn to New Orleans, a city built on tourism, now also seeing steep decline. In mid-April 2025, interest from Canadian tourists dropped dramatically, driven by backlash against the US visa fee and broader trade tensions. One major event highlights the damage: the iconic French Quarter Festival. Revenues dropped by 42%. International attendance fell by 35%. Street performers and drivers lost work. Half of the acts either canceled or didn't show up. Hotels saw lower occupancy. Restaurants closed earlier. Bus tours vanished from the streets. This wasn't a minor hit. It was a direct blow to the city's economy. City leaders scrambled to repair the image, inviting Canadian media and launching PR efforts. But the damage was already done. New Orleans lost millions in revenue tied to music, food, and lodging. A city famous for its energy suddenly fell quiet. This isn't just a seasonal slump, it's a collapse of expectations. And when a city like New Orleans starts losing its festive spark, it's clear the problem runs deep. Let's talk about Kansas City, Missouri, one of the host cities for the 2026 World Cup. Officials now fear a $220 million shortfall in international visitor revenue, all tied to the new visa fee. Tour operators and inbound agencies report that group tours from South America and Africa have dropped by 47%. These groups were expected to be among the biggest crowds during the World Cup celebrations. Instead, families from Argentina, Ghana, and Nigeria have canceled their plans. Travel agents in Sao Paulo and Accra confirm mass withdrawals, citing the higher visa fee as the reason. Kansas City had geared up for record-breaking attendance. Hotels upgraded, transit expanded, merchants stocked up. But now, stadiums might be only half full. Not because people aren't interested, but because they can't afford the entry cost. For a city that invested so heavily in infrastructure and global marketing, this isn't just an economic blow, it's a hit to its reputation. What was meant to be a celebration is quickly turning into damage control. Finally, we land in New York City. The decline here is less dramatic on the surface, but potentially more dangerous. In May 2025, the World Travel and Tourism Council projected a $12.5 billion drop in international tourism spending across the US this year. No city stands to lose more than New York. Local tourism agencies and convention planners estimate that 2 million fewer international visitors will come to NYC in 2025. That's 2 million fewer shoppers, diners, showgoers, hotel guests, 2 million missed opportunities for local businesses, and 2 million reasons to rethink the current visa policy. This isn't just a dip, it's a sharp economic warning. From Tucson to Spokane, from New Orleans to Kansas City, and now New York, the message is clear. When America raises its price tag for entry, the world starts looking elsewhere. And the cities that rely on global visitors are the ones left to pick up the pieces. That $4 billion drop in visitor spending is hitting everything, from hotels and museums to sidewalk performers. But here's the twist. As tourism dollars dried up, the city actually cut its international marketing budget. Less global promotion meant fewer bookings, which led to more budget cuts. The result? A self-inflicted spiral of decline. Across New York, from Fifth Avenue to Flushing, tour guides, cab drivers, and small business owners are seeing quiet hours like never before. Broadway theaters are selling only half their tickets. Luxury brands, once bustling with foreign shoppers, are reporting year-over-year declines. This isn't just a tourism slump, it's a hit to the city's global reputation. And for a place that thrives on international attention, silence is a serious warning sign. Moving on to Orlando, one of the biggest names in US tourism, which is now facing a full-blown staffing crisis. The sharp decline in J-1 visas this year has quietly gutted Florida's seasonal workforce. Hospitality businesses, particularly theme parks, are struggling to fill roles that were once supported by international student workers. This labor shortage has caused chaos. Resorts and dinner shows have lost up to half of their student workforce. Without those workers, entertainment programs were canceled. Guests faced long waits. Lines snaked around sidewalks. Staff rushed to cover basic tasks like cooking and cleaning. Operators say it felt like watching a machine run out of fuel. The crowds came, but the shows didn't. Hotels were forced to rearrange shifts. Dinner theaters closed early. Visitors left frustrated, and word spread that Orlando just wasn't living up to expectations. This breakdown ties directly to visa restrictions and increased costs that priced out the student workers who usually bring the city to life. With fewer helping hands, Orlando is losing both its reputation and its revenue. Following Orlando's turmoil, Chicago is experiencing a quieter but equally troubling decline, one marked by cancellations and empty venues. By May 2025, the shift became obvious. Hotel lobbies once filled with international visitors went quiet. managers cut hours, and some businesses began closing early on days they used to be fully booked. Chicago's famous architectural tours, once packed in spring, are running at half capacity. Boat tour operators are docking their vessels earlier than ever. Entire group bookings vanished overnight. And the impact didn't stop with tourism. It reached into education and the arts. International exchange programs were shelved. Music residencies and language immersion programs were canceled after sponsors withdrew. Tour guides are now rotating shifts to hold on to employment. Last year, Chicago welcomed over 55 million visitors. Today, its streets feel oddly muted. Tourism officials admit they're caught in a downward cycle. Less foot traffic means fewer bookings, which leads to less marketing, which causes even fewer visitors. Without global visibility, Chicago risks being left off travel plans entirely. This isn't just a slowdown, it's a breakdown in global trust. From Chicago, the next stop is Miami, once a top global destination, now quickly losing momentum. In May 2025, Google Travel Trends showed a 15% year-over-year drop in searches for Miami, placing it among the most avoided major destinations worldwide. At the same time, local industry data reveals that service revenues across hotels, restaurants, and entertainment have declined by 20 to 35% since last season. Resorts are cutting back international staff. Servers, concierges, and bellhops are being reassigned or let go. No-show rates have surged as bookings disappear. This is all despite Miami welcoming over 6.4 million international tourists in 2024, who spent roughly $7 billion. But now, in what should be peak season, the city feels eerily empty. Silent hotel lobbies, quiet beach bars, and major drops in tourist arrivals from Canada, South America, and Europe. Industry insiders agree. This downturn isn't seasonal, it's systemic. The cause? Visa complications and added costs that have made visiting too difficult. Miami is now battling a perfect storm of fewer visitors, fewer workers, and growing frustration. The city built on sun, glamour, and luxury is now facing an economic hangover, with no easy solution in sight. But the ripple effect doesn't end in Miami. It's reaching all the way to Los Angeles, America's entertainment capital, where the tourism glow is fading fast. Hollywood tours are seeing bookings drop by 37% as international visitors cancel studio trips en masse. And it's not just tourism that's suffering. Film production in Greater LA plummeted in early 2025. Fewer movies, shows, and commercials are being shot. Fewer film crews. Fewer global interns. And with that, fewer tourists. The impact spreads far. Hotels, cafes, gift shops, even rideshare drivers are feeling it. International attendance at cultural festivals and film schools has dropped by over 40%. Without that global energy, LA's identity as the heart of the film world is starting to dim. Tour cancellations mean empty streets. Fewer cameras mean fewer jobs. And the city known for its spotlight is now struggling to keep the lights on. LA built its brand on global prestige, and that brand once brought in billions. But as international interest fades, so do the jobs, the buzz, and the business. Finally, we arrive in San Francisco, a city known for innovation and deep cultural ties, especially with Asia. But those ties are weakening fast. In May, US government data showed a nearly 20% drop in F1 and J1 visas, particularly from Asian countries. That's translated into a visible decline in international student enrollment in the Bay Area. Tech and design programs at institutions like UC Berkeley and the Academy of Art are reporting a 22% drop in enrollment. This isn't just about headcounts, it's about future talent being lost, and the effects are visible beyond classrooms. Take a walk through Chinatown, and the quiet is unmistakable. One of San Francisco's oldest restaurants, Sam Wo, closed its doors in January 2025 after over 100 years in business, a symbol of how deep the crisis runs. Locals say that nearly 30% of shops and eateries in the area have shut down since winter. With fewer international students, fewer tourists, and fewer lights on at night, San Francisco isn't just missing visitors, it's losing part of its global soul. From the beaches of Miami to the skyline of New York, America's most iconic cities are going quiet. Not because of war, not because of a pandemic, but because of a $250 visa fee. One small policy change has sparked a massive ripple, leading to fewer tourists, lost jobs, and cities slipping off the global map. So now the real question is this just a temporary downturn? Or are we witnessing the moment when the world begins turning away from the American dream? Have you been to Tucson, Orlando, or San Francisco recently? Would you still go with that kind of price tag? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, because the future of US tourism might just start with your voice. And if you found this eye-opening, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Timefold channel for more.